This is just unbelievable. First off, I don't know how they let this guy back on TV ever. But you recall Tom Friedman.
He's never been wrong about anything.
It's not just that he's never been wrong about everything, because he's of course been wrong about everything. But I think there are, Colin Powell was definitely one of those people. But Tom Friedman, more than, if you took 20 people and put them in a room, or I think even if you put 10 people and put them in a room, and as to what helped in the march to the illegal invasion and occupation of Iraq, costing the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, and you took 10 and you wanted to pick 10 people to be in a room, maybe 20 to be in a room, who, but for those people and what positions they took publicly and how they espoused it, that war wouldn't have happened. Thomas Friedman would be in that room.
Well, certainly maybe the number one person outside of the Bush administration.
I mean, arguably, Judy Miller did some work, and there's a couple.
But it cost her. It cost her.
But it cost. Right. Bill Christoph, and it didn't cost him. There were others.
Non-lawmakers, I should say. Friedman probably tops the list.
Friedman's pretty darn close, because he convinced a lot of New York Times readers, this must be the thing to do.
Oh, so did Judy Miller.
Well, Judy Miller did too, but like you say, she paid some bit of a price. Here is Thomas Friedman. I don't. This is almost like
it's his take on how climate change is going to be fixed by, you guessed it, the almighty market.
Oh my God, look at him
Some
too.
situations that the president has been put in conflict. President Biden was asked at the press conference last night, look, you are asking countries to reach these new standards, these new Paris Accords, and to do more on this front. At the same time, you are asking the Middle East nations to pump more oil because you need it. Prices are too high for your liking right now. That does put them at a weird juxtaposition. How do you solve both sides of that equation? Wanting to be able to make sure that people don't freeze, that they can drive their cars, that it doesn't cost too much. Oh, and by the way, we don't want to use any of these fossil fuels again. It's a weird position.
Well, Beck, it really is kind of a depiction of the core problem we have here. So we started out by saying we're not going to do anything on clean energy, let's say 15, 20 years ago. Then we moved to we'll do what's ever easy. That is whatever will be easy for me as a politician and not put any stress on my consumers or my industries, and really not ask anyone to do anything hard as for the next generation. The next step would actually be asking people to do things that are really hard. And the next step would be doing things that are urgent. So we're stuck in stage 2 here. Everyone's ready to do kind of the low-hanging fruit. But when it comes to asking people to do anything that might crimp my economy, by the way, this is understandable, and really maybe even diminish living standards, no one's ready to do that. And the contradiction you pointed out there is just a manifestation of this. Myself, going back, I wrote a book
Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. Just contemplate. The guy just spoke for at least 60 seconds, and 90 seconds, and said absolutely nothing. He just let me attempt to restate what you just said, and say absolutely nothing.
And then he says people, and Matt said people under his breath, not on mic, during the clip. And what he means by people is he means by corporations, not governments regulating what these corporations need to be doing. Just keep that in mind, because
they're not ready, Emma. They're not ready.
They're not ready. I didn't know.
It actually it's polling low or something now. People just need
right.
We're stuck in stage 2. See, I've been able to make this into stages, and so that's what I've just offered for the conversation. But wait, it gets worse.
Manifestation of this. Myself, going back, I wrote a book about this in 2008, Hot, Flat, and Crowded, and I've had the same view ever since. There's only one thing, Becky, as big as Mother Nature, and that's father greed. That's the market. And if you incentivize
Okay. All right. This idiot is so myopic and so committed to global capitalism as a religion that he naturalizes it naturalizes it on par with like the entire global ecosystem.
Well, I mean, to be honest, there's a way to accept his frame there and say, like, yeah, capitalism is so bad that it is destroying Mother Nature. Like, and we need to stop capitalism itself from doing that.
Father Green.
Yeah, well, no,
It's an
okay, so
abusive
that's fine.
relationship.
If you want to frame it as Father Green being the foe of Mother Nature and like it's going to be Thanos v Iron Man or whatever the fuck, like frame it as something that's oppositional, not how Father Green is going to elevate Mother Nature.
Well, you know, it's also sort of just incredibly sort of warped. First off, Friedman is famous for not understanding the concept of metaphor or analogy, but it's not Mother Nature, Father Green. It's Mother Nature, Father Money.
Green is money. That's what.
No. Yeah, I know. But
I don't know, Sam. I wasn't sure about that.
I think that's what he's trying to get at, but it's not. But he's using green, which is sort of obfuscating the fact that it's money. And he doesn't want to say money because that comes across as a little bit crass. But if I say green, which is associated with nature, then somehow Father Green doesn't sound as bad. No, it's Father Money, he's saying.
He does serve his daddy well.
Go back a little bit and let's see where he's going with this absolute like absurdity.
and really maybe even diminish living standards. No one's ready to do that. And the contradiction you pointed out there is just a manifestation of this. You know, myself, going back, I wrote a book about this in 2008, Hot, Flat, and Crowded, and I've had the same view ever since. There's only one thing, Becky, as big as Mother Nature, and that's Father Greed. That's the market.
Is it greed?
And if you incentivize the market to produce clean green technologies, it will do that. And my view has always been, if you're not serious about a carbon tax, the kind of idea that Jim Baker and George Shultz, the late George Shultz and Jim Baker, two former Republican secretaries of state, have called for a carbon tax that would rebate 100% of, basically, but get people to reshape the market to truly incentivize investment in clean green technologies going forward. It was not serious.
Is he saying Father Greed?
No,
it's Green.
He quoted it. It said Father Green. If I hear one more thing about incentivizing capitalism and industry to fix the climate crisis, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. As COP26 happens and Biden goes up there and talks about like, oh, we're going to have this historic investment in incentivizing and tax incentives, as they've cut out all of the energy and clean energy enforcement from the Build Back Better plan. Like, it's all just incentives now. There's a little bit and he can do what he wants with the EPA. I understand that. But there's like regulation, forcing companies to do what is right is what is needed. I can't deal with this concept of incentives anymore as we're talking about like the existential crisis that we face right now. It's like people are really stupid.
Because Emma, this is the problem. They're trying to keep their donors and deal with climate at the same time. And we are the only country on the planet that has that conundrum. And we hold one of the keys to solving the climate crisis. And that's ultimately it. I mean, when you go to Europe, they have both of these conversations at once. They're also very capitalistic, and they understand there's sort of like a global, national security game attached to it. But simultaneously, they can still talk about regulations. It's not. I mean, I was in Scotland 2 weeks ago for this climate. It was the Americans speaking were like on another planet, talking with every other person at that event.
Although the EU leaders are like throwing coins into the fountain to say, wishing us good luck on solving the climate crisis. We don't have any agency to solve this ourselves. Let's do it through market incentives.
I would also.
But to be fair, we got to be real though. Like in the details, the EU is actually submitting real standards. We are the ones holding it up. Let's be very, very clear. They're not. Are they going as far as we want them to do? They've at least banned natural like fracking. I mean, they're actually able to do things like that and respond to public pressure. And, how many countries are in the EU to be able to do that is pretty impressive. So anyone who says that we're in a partisan environment in our country and it's too complicated because we have 50 states and everybody's no, it has to do with the fact that our premise is capitalism. That is what we work from. And their premise is not that.
It's Father Green.
Yeah,
not capitalism. Now put up that
actually.
put up the Squawk Box. They quoted him as saying Father Green.
Yes.
Just to be clear. That's it. From now on, when we talk about capitalism, that's
Father
what we'll
Green.
say.
Love it. I love this analogy because
Father
he's a
Green.
wife beater. And like,
he just ruined the planet. Now
Yeah.
he's got to fix it, I guess. The other thing just the way that Tom Friedman says, people's living standards are going to have to fall, and nobody wants to do that yet. I would like to know all the conversations Tom Friedman has with like very wealthy people about how people just don't want to accept a fall in their living standards, because I think that is.
Dude's a billionaire. He's married to an heiress.
Yeah.
is he really?
Oh yeah.
Who's he married to?
Oh, somebody's worth, I think, $1 billion.
There is I think a secret movement among billionaires to get people to lower their living standards. That's why Tyler Cowen was talking about shanty towns like 5-10 years ago. Like, these people want you to lower your living standards. That's
They're
a way to get out of
untouchable.
climate change.
They're untouchable.
Wow. I'm curious what the high rises are going to look like on Mars. Has anybody addressed that yet?
Well, we have to wait until Father Green tells us.